What a beautiful day. Hello, family. How are you? It is Ilan Bomani, and thank you so much, and welcome to our very first edition of the Holy Yogi. And here at the Holy Yogi, what our goal and our greatest aspiration is to help you find the guru inside of you. So, with that in mind, today we're going to discuss, the relationship, the soulmate, the love connection that we all desire to experience. And so when we get to that area of love relationships and partnerships, one of the key things that we emphasize is the fact that it has to come from a divine intervention and connection in order to be successful. So with that in mind, people are always asking information in regards to, the most recent breakup between celebrity Janet Jackson and her billionaire husband. Oh dear, I forgot the gentleman's name. But nevertheless, it was a big, discussion on Facebook in regards to it. And I found it quite interesting that so many people had various takes on the relationship. And the thing that I saw at the very, very beginning of the relationship with Janet Jackson and her husband, before they even got married, was that I saw that Janet has started to shift from her true, authentic goddess self into what her husband had wanted her to be. And a lot of us tend to do that. Basically, she converted to the Muslim religion. She started to wear the Muslim type of attire, where the woman is considered, the second class type of positioning, an inferior type of situation that was something that she really wanted to do, because it was very clear that she truly, in her own expression, loved her husband. And by doing that, and so many women do this, they tend to really give themselves away to someone else's dream and expectations of what they would like them to be. And so, beloved friend, what I'm here to tell you, that type of relationship, it is not going to work. And I knew at the very beginning that when Janet tried to be, his interpretation of a woman, of a mother now, it didn't coincide with what her philosophies and beliefs were. She growing up in a Jehovah Witness type of environment, so they had two people of different, religious orientation and beliefs. But once again, what she was trying to do is not be herself. You can never ever go into a relationship not being your authentic, true spiritual self. It will cause for a complete demise. Imbalance is imbalance. And so because of that, now people are saying, because, her prenuptial agreement that they had signed was that if she stayed with him for 5 years, she would get a $500 million. Ironically, and it's not ironic, because when you understand metaphysics, you fully get it. And I'm sure a lot of you out there are already getting it, but let's break it down for you. They got divorced. But what so many people, of course, people were saying, she's a gold digger. She was in the relationship for the money. She got her baby. He got, the opportunity to be with a celebrity. She got the opportunity to be with a rich billionaire. But Janet was a billionaire herself already. I genuinely believe that Janet was looking for love in all the wrong places. And when we tend to look for love outside of ourselves, we're definitely not going to find it if we don't already love and feel confident and self-assured about who and what we are. Ladies and gentlemen, you attract who you are. And Janet Jackson is no different. And her husband is no different. There's no shame, blame, victim game here by any stretch of the imagination. I know that Janet went into that relationship with good intentions. Sure, she wanted to be with somebody that would appreciate her for what she was able to accomplish and do, for she had worked hard for it on her own accord. Though she came from a very celebrity family, they were not a rich family. Entertainment is a business, and unfortunately, like so many entertainers, they knew how to entertain, but they didn't know the business aspect of it. So I give Janet Jackson a lot of credit, because with that, she made her money. She didn't squander it and spend it. She invested and saved her money, which she accumulated after 20 years of being in this industry to the level of being a billionaire. Now that makes a whole lot of sense. So she didn't need to marry this gentleman for his money. But if you look at her past relationships that she had been in, most of the men that she had relationships in were of a lower socioeconomic background than her. She was the provider, normally the breadwinner of the relationship. And because of that, sometimes you question, and it's understandable, is someone in this relationship because of me? Or are they in this relationship because of my fame? Or are they in this relationship because of my money? Power, fame, money. All those illusionary aspects of who and what we are. So Janet's goal was to hopefully, she knew that once the money was definitely out of the way, that she thought that he had liked her for her. But actually he had liked her for the image that he had created in his mind of her. And then ironically, when we get that image, what do? We try to change that image to accommodate our wishes, our dreams, our goal. And then we lose sight of the individual and human being. And when you lose sight of the individual and the human being as and who, and accepting them for who and what they are, then you're not loving them. You never were loving them from the very beginning, because of the fact that you were more in love with the image of who and what they were, the illusion, the hologram that was appearing before you. And that may have been the case as far as Janet Jackson was concerned also. Once again, we attract what we are. So the other aspect of the fact that basically they did not mix on a spiritual level. But the other key factor is this, ladies and gentlemen: when you sign a prenuptial agreement, the whole premise of a prenuptial agreement states, before you get married, I do not trust you. And because I do not trust you, I'm going to have you sign this prenuptial agreement in order to, quote unquote, build that trust and, quote unquote, protect myself. You have gone into that relationship with fear. So they've actually fallen in fear, then fallen in love. Now, people assume that Janet was going by, waited it out until after she had the baby, and then left him in order to get the half $1 billion. But think about this, and what we know about whatever the mind can conceive and believe, it will achieve. And then once we put it down on paper, it surely will manifest. Okay? So that's what's really powerful. If it is on paper that if you stay married to me until after the 5 years, and then once you reach that level, I'll give you $500 million. Do you know, when you put that out into the universe, and then when you physically write it down, it becomes real, ladies and gentlemen. So it's like a self-fulfilled prophecy. They set themselves up for failure. If you believe that a relationship is not going to work, ladies and gentlemen, from the onset, it is not going to work. So if you notice, majority of people that get prenuptial agreements, guess what happens? The outcome is that they have to address that prenuptial agreement. There is a divorce in the making. That's the reality of the situation. That is definitely what is going to happen in that case. And that's why I think it came into fruition. Not because it was Janet's game plan of action, but because at the recesses of both of their minds, they had already played out the divorce before they were even married. And so with that in mind, it was already set up for failure. from the very onset and very beginning, because they did not come in with authentic, unconditional love. That's the only, that's the only type of relationship that is going to work out. It has to have trust, honesty, faith, belief, compassion, forgiveness, and acceptance. And if you noticed, a lot of those principles were nowhere to be found in their relationship. What do you have in a relationship if you cannot trust someone with your life? And unfortunately, the lifeline for so many people is your money. You know, I always say to all of my students on a consistent basis, money is only an expression of love. It's energy, ladies and gentlemen. That is all that it is. The more money you have is based upon the more love that you're giving. And the less money you have is based upon the less love that you give. So that's why they put money at the forefront and made it, quote unquote, their God. It's not money that is the root of all evil. It's the consciousness of the people that will make the money evil, ladies and gentlemen. And so with that in mind, that is why the relationship did not work out. Is because the two people came into they fell into fear instead of falling into love. And like so many of us, they're just normal human beings, you know, and I don't think that they should be judged or criticized or condemned, because so many of us are in that particular arena. So many of us don't know what true unconditional love is all about and have never experienced it. Most of us only understand and fully know conditional love. If you do this for me, I will do this for you. If you, and that's a business transaction in a nutshell, you know. You scratch my back, I'll scratch your back, you know. You pay attention to me, I'll pay attention to you. You buy me these gifts and baubles, I buy you those gifts and baubles. And if we don't get them, then we immediately assume that you don't care and that you don't love me. Well, ladies and gentlemen, once again, that's not love. That is a business transaction. And that's what they had. They had a business transaction. And so many of us, that's what we have. We have business transactions instead of love relationships. So I think we all need to reflect upon us, because I think we all can see a little bit of Janet Jackson's relationship. I wish I could remember her husband's name, but I apologize, I don't. As these two individuals go through what they go through, it is a microcosm of the macrocosm. That's the way that's the way love goes. One of the songs by Janet Jackson, you know. And that's the reality of the situation, that most people are falling into fear instead of falling into love. And that's what I want all of you to realize. So Elon, how can I do that? How can I fully understand what love is? And the best way that you can fully understand what love is first and foremost, honor and love yourself. Ladies and gentlemen, let this be understood, and I want you to memorize this. The only true relationship that you will ever have and ever experience true unconditional love is between you and God, you, Goddess, you, the universe, whatever you want to call it for yourself. That is the true meaning of unconditional love. That understanding. And I'll give you an example of it right now. The birds, the bees, the flowers and trees. Sunshine is out here. Blue skies. Fresh air that I can breathe in, that makes me live and alive and well, regardless is if I'm a robber, if I am a philanthropist, if I am a murderer, if I am a bully, if I am a jealous, envious type of person, or if I am Mother Teresa, or Oprah Winfrey, or Barack Obama, or Deepak Chopra, or Louise Hay, if I am any of these individuals, that same air, that same sunshine, that same blue sky, That same water that we all tap in to drink is available to each and every single one of us. And that's the true meaning of unconditional love. When you got up this morning and you put your foot down and you landed safe and sound because you knew gravity would be there to support you, regardless of who you are or what you do. So keep that in mind. And now we want to grow into that. We want to find the dynamic diva and the divine God inside of us. And we want to tap into that. So the best way to do that is to get back into the business, remember that, of loving you first and foremost. As you realize that you were created in a likeness and image of God, you are a reflection of the Most High. And the Most High is a reflection of you and what is inside of you. But you got to tap into that by prayer, by meditation, by visualization, by affirmation, and so shall you reunite and remember back to your divine self, your loving self, your beautiful self, your being. So that's what I think. I think that's what happened with Janet. I think that that uncomfortable nature inside of us tapped into, though she tried to acquiesce, though she tried to change for someone else, she decided to regain back her power and regain back the dynamic diva inside of her to realize and self-actualize herself. Welcome back. And to be honest, if someone cannot accept that aspect of themselves, then so shall you basically block that type of energy from entering, repel it, and they will go their distance. Every relationship, it was a blessing when it was in existence because it taught a lesson. In every lesson, there is a blessing. Keep that in proper perspective. So it was all good what they had together. And I'll continue to pray for their abundance. I'll continue to pray for their prosperity and a peaceful, loving transition as they go about continuing their journey on this great place called Earth. So with that in mind, feel free, comment below. This is the Holy Yogi site where we help you make that mind, body, and spiritual connection with you, because it's all about you. And I honor the dynamic Holy Yogi in you. With that in mind, it's Ilan Bomani. Plan to be here tomorrow with a good 5, 10 minute, maybe 15 minutes. Spirit told me to go a little bit longer. That's how we do it here. We are in divine essence to make that divine connection. Wishing you the very, very best, and I'll chat with you again real soon. Bye-bye for now.